Well, first up, the Bank of Ghana has announced that charges that are not disclosed to a borrower in a loan agreement should be considered null and void. Now, describing borrowers who may suffer such ordeal as victims, the Bank of Ghana also directs commercial banks and lenders to refund such monies to the borrowers. According to the central bank, it is embarking on a campaign to promote transparency in loan disbursement as well as empower borrowers to shop around for better rates and loan conditions. We'll analyze this in a bit. First, a few of you have been reacting to this new directive by the Bank of Ghana.
On course, because I am a victim of that situation, and sometimes some of the bankers and financial institutions will tell you that the loan is granted on commitment, no commitment fee, but you realize that your loan deductions become so huge that you divide it by the total duration and realize that you are not making, you can't tell exactly where the remaining monies are coming from. So if Bank of Ghana has brought out the challenge that has given a directive that they should pay the money to the customers, I think it's on course. They need to be sanctioned. That is thief-free, because if loans that we take is a contract. So if we are entering into contract, you have to make every information available to me to decide whether I want to do that. So if you hide some information away from me, that is a breach of contract, and so you have to pay for that. And so I don't think there is anything wrong if Bank of Ghana decide to sanction those institutions, aside asking them to refund the monies to the customers.
If only they are not aware of it, and it has affected the customers, and the authoritative body, Bank of Ghana, has examined it and gone through it and found that it is very needful for customers of the various institutions or banks to have their money back, then I support it. You understand it? Because they are the authoritative body and they have brought this nice suggestion. So let the money be refunded so that customers will be happy and take care of their family, so that Ghana will do well. Rules and sanctions will also help, so that next time they will not do that. There should be communication first to the clients. Sometimes they even send text messages, they can send emails, or they can even make announcements in the media for their various customers. Communication is very, very good. You understand me? Yes, it's democracy. So I support any sanction, so that next time it won't be repeated.
The banks, most banks that do that, to the people that take the loans from them, yes, I think they should be punished, because most people, they are not aware of the kind of money they are supposed to pay, and then at the end of the day or the time, they just lost everything, you see, and they end up paying a lot of money. So
as for me, I think they should be made aware of the charges, and then secondly, like what Bank of Ghana is saying, for me, it is the truth. Yes, it is the truth. I think when they refund the money to them, it will be of help for them, so that going forward, when the Bank of Ghana brings such of this, or let's say rules and regulations governing all these things, next time they will be very careful whenever they are dealing with us, with customers. They will tell them the rules and regulations governing it before they will give a loan to any of the customers that they have.
All right, so that was a section of the public reacting to the Bank of Ghana directive, asking banks to refund all undisclosed charges to borrowers. Let's bring in banking consultant Christian Tishijan. In the intro, I said it was new, but actually this is not new. And so the question, Christian, is why the Bank of Ghana is bringing this up now.
Yeah, good afternoon, Daryl, and thanks for having me on your program. I think all loan transactions in the country are being regulated by the Borrowers and Lenders Act. That's the Act 2020-1052. And if you look at it, since it's been propounded, I can say confidently, especially with all the universal banks, that they've actually adopted it as a template that they've actually been using. The financial space is made up of a number of players. The universal banks are there. We've got the credit unions, we've got the savings and loans, the microfinance, and what have you. So for the universal banks, I know they've really adopted it as a template. I cannot, however, speak confidently on the other sectors, but I think it's a happening that is ongoing within the market. And if you look at what the positions on the law is, so far as you do not go by them, definitely they are infractions as far as the law is concerned. So I think it's a very good call for the institutions who are not disclosing some of these terms and conditions to them. So as part of the dictates, you are supposed to provide the truth in lending, which sometimes will stipulate the interest rate that is being charged, the amount that is being availed, the purpose of the facility, if there are commissions, if there are charges, even with the interest rate, whether they are fixed or they are variable, everything needs to be stipulated. If it's a straight line or it's compound, it also needs to be stipulated so that the right of the borrower will actually be protected by that particular act. So I think it's a very good call. But the challenge I see here, it's not really the banks, whether they disclose or they do not disclose. I'm aware a lot of them do disclose, but a lot of us consumers sometimes, in a haste to just avail the facility or take the loan, we do not really go in details to verify or to study into detail the documents that we are giving. So you can have a customer that comes in, the facility agreement is prepared, the offer letter is prepared, the truth in lending facility document is also prepared, but you just see them signing off without actually going through. So the challenge I see here, for me, is not really about the banks not disclosing. They do disclose, but it's about consumers not really studying the documents to know the dictates or the terms and conditions that are stipulated in some of these documents. That is where I believe there is a very strong challenge.
Well, the central bank says is embarking on a campaign to promote transparency in loan disbursement, as well as empower borrowers to shop around for better rates and loan conditions. To what extent does this help?
Yes, we operate, our financial sector is operated by the open market system, where some banks decided to place a premium, let's say 5% on whatever premium they are charging. Some might do 3%, some might do 7%. So as consumers, we need to go around. We do window shopping. We move around bank to bank to find out what the rates are. Sometimes the interest rate might even be the same, but there could be other charges that includes monitoring fees, that includes variations in terms of commitment fees or processing fees. So if you put all of these things together, you are going to have the APR, where the APR will tell you the total cost of the facility. So if you go around and you are able to shop for some of these rates and you put them together, at the end of the day, you'll be able to arrive at the APR, and per your own analysis, you decide to go for facility maybe from Bank A or Bank B.
Are we seeing the central bank also act because businesses and individuals have been complaining about the high lending rates?
Exactly. It's actually a number of factors. We've also had the financial institutions also recording for the year end 2022, they registered over 4 billion in non-performing loans. So it's become an issue in the industry for both borrowers and lenders, and therefore we need to instill what our laws are saying. We need to actually ensure that we apply them to the latter, and it's going to be beneficial to the whole industry. The sanity of the industry, it's not just beneficial to the lenders, it's also beneficial to the borrowers and even for the regulator as well. So it's absolutely important that we get some of these things right for the sanity of the industry.
But still, the lending rates are high because the central bank keeps hiking the policy rates. Isn't there a way around it?
Yes. For now, inflation remains high, and therefore the central bank feels in order to be able to tame it, we need to mop up the excess.
But there are people who argue, well, that's not effective because what we are seeing is imported inflation, so the policy rate hikes don't really make a difference.
Exactly. I belong to that school of thought because with inflation, there's a cost push and there's a demand pull. What we are experiencing is the cost push, and cost push So far as borrowing rate is high, the businessman being a rational economic agent will definitely apply such rates on the final goods and services on the market. So I belong to that school of thought. For me, hiking the monetary policy rate hasn't really helped. We need to rather embark on measures that will put costs down. So far as cost is pushed down, let's say borrowing rate is down, electricity, tariffs, and fuel operational costs are all down, then it makes a reasonable sense for the businessman not to slap so much costs on the final goods and services on the market. So we need to move away from that system where we always have to hike the monetary policy rate in our bid to control inflation, which is invariably actually pushing costs rather high, and the businessman being a rational economic agent, I've already said, will definitely slap such charges on the final goods and services.
All right, we have just 30 seconds, and just for the education of our audience, so if they are going out looking for a loan and signing agreements, what should they be on the lookout for?
Yes, so you should look out for the amount that is being availed. You should look out for the interest rate that is being charged. Whether the rate is actually fixed or it's variable, you should look at it. If it's compound or if it's straight line, you should also look at it. You can look at other measures. Sometimes even on the rates, you could have a cheaper rate from Bank A, but the other charges, the commissions and the fees, the monitoring fees might even be higher than the interest rate. So once we do this window shopping and we're able to come up with the APR, then we can do better analysis to arrive at what the consolidated cost comes at, and then we'll be able to make an informed decision based on that analysis that we've made.
Christian Teshijan, thank you so much for your time, financial analyst, sharing his thoughts on the Bank of Ghana directive to banks to disclose charges to customers, and the Bank of Ghana warning that if you have a loan agreement and you are not disclosing the charges, is null and void and you could face sanctions. Well, let's move on to the Upper West region, where NEDCO, the power supplier for the people over there, is concerned about the fact that customers are not paying for the power they use. They owe the company as much as 107 million Ghana cedis. Rafiq Salam has a report from there.
As part of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission's mandate to receive, investigate, and settle complaints relating to utility services, the Customer Service Clinic is being instituted by the service aimed at creating a platform where consumers of utilities will have opportunity to present their complaints to both the PURC and the utilities with the expected assurance of their complaints being resolved. Among the activities carried out, 2 utility companies in the Upper West region, VRA NEDCO and the Ghana Water Company Limited, were given opportunity to make presentations on their operations and complaint management process at the various districts. Abubakar Jabaru is Director, Regional Operations and Consumer Services of the PURC in the Upper West region.
We want to let the utilities also explain to them within Upper West what are our challenges, what do we expect from you, what do you also expect from us when it comes to the questioning time. So here it is their day, not our day.
Upper West Region's area manager of VRA NEDCO, Engineer Francis Yemeso, gave an overview of their operations in the region.
The maximum demand for Upper West region in terms of power consumption is 36 megawatts. Our customer population is around 137,000, of which 53% are metered on prepaid, whilst 47% are on the postpaid. Engineer
Yemeso revealed that the major challenge faced is the staggering amount of money owed the company in the region, peg around 107 million Ghana cedis.
For Upper West region alone, including ministry, department, and agency, 107 million Ghana cedis. All right, and when you take off without MDEs, that means without the government agencies, okay, they owe us 25 million Ghana cedis. So that tells you that ministry, departments, and agency owes VRA NEDCO Upper West area alone 82 million Ghana cedis.
The VRA NEDCO says they have already embarked on an exercise to get defaulting customers to settle their debt, and warned that defaulting MDAs will soon be disconnected if they fail to settle their indebtedness.
We are engaging, trying to see how they can do the needful. Currently, you've seen UCG go and disconnect some of them, and we are also going to do that very soon. We are going to do that. We are embarking on mass disconnection, and the agencies won't be spared.
The Ghana Water Company Limited, on their part, also spoke about the services rendered to the over 68,000 residents of Wa and its environs, but with less than 9,000 customers. Kwesi Abrebrese is the chief manager of Upper West Ghana Water Company Limited. Customers of the Ghana Water Company Limited in the Upper West region owe between 2 to 3 million Ghana cedis and have already started processes with their customers to enable them settle their indebtedness.
Since late last year, we've embarked on a program. Currently, what we do is that we are serving all disconnected customers who failed to respond to our demands at the end of 2022. We are serving them with demand notices for the amount they are owing. We give them 14 days to respond. Beyond the 14 days, those who fail to respond, we put their names together and we process them for the courts.
Some customers at the forum praise the PURC for the initiative, which has given them opportunity to know about their operations.
So sometimes you find a whole community up in arms against NETCO because according to them, they are being cheated or they are being overbilled. But with what the engagement we have here, I think that all of us will go home at least with an idea of what goes into billing and what goes into pricing.
We are shown how we can approach them either through electronic ways or we go through the normal process by going to the office to seek address of our concerns, and then the challenges also they are facing that prevents them to give us quality service that we are expecting from them. So I think.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Well, our next story, the Ghana Online Drivers Union is asking the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority to put on hold the implementation of the digital transport fee. Now, that fee was imposed in April this month, that is, or the 1st of April, and it essentially means that you're going to be paying 1 cedi for every trip. Yes, well, joining me in studio, Francis Tenge, who is president of the Ghana Online Drivers Union. Also joining us on Zoom is the national treasurer of the Ghana Online Drivers Union, in the person of Jemima Mensah. We'll get to her in a bit. Welcome to the studio, Francis. So first, tell us about, I've been reading a statement that you put out. Tell us about the new guidelines that the DVLA has introduced that you have been raising concerns about. First of all, is it helpful? Why are you not in support of the digital transfer fee?
Thank you once again. Good afternoon to you and your listeners. We are so much grateful for your efforts to nation building, which we are we are thankful. The DVLA guidelines is a system that is called the Digital Transport Support System, which was initiated by the DVLA, who are our regulators in 2019. In 2019, that was when they decided to come into the system and then regulate it, because there are several irregularities in the system, and in terms of securities, pricing, safety, insurance, and all that. It's not good. The way the system is now, the standard is very, very low as compared to the operations of Uber in the US and then in Europe. So we've written several petitions, we've done demonstrations and strikes, and the government of Ghana decided to step in 2019. And then they wanted to implement it, which it didn't favor us. So in 2020, the year of return, and there was the year of return, which made the CEO of DVLA decided to postpone it, and then COVID also came. So last year, the government then drew our attention again as stakeholders that they want to implement it. Said when we look at what the system that they designed, it's a software. It's a system that DVLA is going to introduce, a standard that will allow ride-hailing companies, that is Uber, Bolt, and Yango, and all platforms, to sign up into, they will migrate into their system. And then all drivers will also sign on to the system. So it is going to check our driver's licenses, it's going to check the vehicles that we are using. So in terms of security-wise, it's to be able to resolve that issue.
And that's helpful, isn't it?
It's helpful. It's a very good initiative. Yeah.
Okay. But Jemima, there's a lot of talk about the digital transport fee, and a statement I read from the Online Drivers Union, you are asking that the DVLA puts that on hold. Why?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think this digital thing, as my president said, it's a good thing. But the way they started the whole thing without informing us, without involving the stakeholders, because at the end of the day, you see that we are going to work with our own cars, with our strength, with our fuels, to generate those funds for you. So for me, I think that we should also be part of the decision making to make sure that whatever that they are going to do, we are working hand in hand. But for it to come as a surprise all of a sudden, and then it's on our apps that from today onwards we are charging this much from our customers, I don't think it's the best. It's the best. But the decision or the initiative or the idea behind what they are doing, it's a good idea, because then everybody will be on the same platform, will know whatever is going on at the right time, on time, like real time. You will know that this particular driver is here, he's safe or she's safe, or any challenges that the person is going through or whatever is happening on the road will be on the system, which is a plus to us. And we'll be able to also negotiate our fares, okay? At least the fares that we are charging will be standard and everything. So for the initiative, it's a wonderful one, but the approach is the issue. The approach to how they are doing it is a challenge.
And so with the fee, who is essentially benefits from this? Is the government of Ghana, right? Riders don't benefit from this, do they?
Yes. So the little I've heard, or from what I know, I think the DVLA is the actual beneficiary from whatever that is going to happen.
And how do you anticipate this to affect your passengers? I mean, people who patronize the ride-hailing apps. Do you think this is a disincentive, Francis?
No. Like I said, the idea and the initiative is welcoming. Like in 2016, from 2016, when Uber first started, we can all testify that all cars were fully air-conditioned. Every Uber car in Ghana was fully air-conditioned. Drivers were not over-speeding. Although the commission at that time was 25% against we the drive for using the platform, but the service we were providing was also good. We were all drivers, before you can sign onto the platform, you go to training. We had physical training at Uber office, and there was also an online theory training. So Uber ensured that the drivers were all genuine. The cars were actually maintained. We were going for maintenance every 6 months and all that. But until when both came in 2019, now there's competition. And the system there was no regulation, there was no standard. So because of competition, all companies wanted drivers. So as we speak now, currently, in less than 5 minutes, you can have your driver's app ready and you can drive, and it's not helpful. For now, I'm speaking in respect of the genuity of the whole thing, how the introduction of this DVLA is digital transport sector is going to solve. So at the end of the day, riders are going to be their safeties and it will be resolved.
Yeah,
yes.
It will be guaranteed. But
be guaranteed.
We are talking about the fee, and you are asking them to put it on hold. And I'm asking why you want it to be put on hold. Do you think it will be a disincentive to the passengers? Would they, because of this, say, well, we are not going to patronize ride-hailing apps anymore? I mean, what exactly is the concern?
Yeah, the system that the DVLA is introducing is very expensive from what I've heard. Somebody needs to pay for the cost. They've set up an administrative offices. They are going to pay staffs. So I don't know who is supposed to pay. So initially, the idea of the DVLA was that we, the drivers, were supposed to pay. And I learned Parliament approved that one which I can't confirm. But so they said we were supposed, initially in 2019, they said we were supposed to pay 70 cedis to verify our driver's licenses, 70 to verify our cars. And then we begged the CEO, which they listened, and they reduced it to 30 cedis. I also get the fact. Now, we're supposed to pay, is it the drivers are supposed to pay or the app companies? Now, at the last meeting, the DVL and the government then decided that, okay, let us push the cost to the app companies. So the app companies are now going to bear the cost. So the tagging, the phrase digital transport fee was wrong. It's wrong. They are not supposed to use digital transport fee. So because they are the one paying for the cost, they've decided to shift it to the final consumer, that is the rider. Okay. That's what they introduced.
Which you feel is not fair? Or what's exactly your problem with it?
The problem is that there was no much collaboration, there was no consultation. We were supposed to sit down. Parliament is supposed to also get to know, approve it. And then the system itself needs to be ready for us to try it and then for us to enroll before they start the implementation.
So if you're asking for more collaboration before it is enforced, you're asking for the full enforcement of the DTSS before these fees come into place. We hope you get a listen from the people involved. I have to go, my time is up, unfortunately. But thanks for watching, everyone. That's the Marketplace. We will be back tomorrow, Good Friday, yes. And more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. See you.